Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us here on Up with Krim. I'm Channing Curtis.
Glad to have you here with us. I'm Tim Pham. Let's get right to your forecast as we begin this 6 o'clock hour. A lot of people on their way to work or the bus stop this morning. I know the kiddos coming back from spring break vacation, this is the third day back in school. This is when you finally get in your groove.
Yes.
I was one of those kids. I never went on the true spring break. So
Yeah.
if the weather was like this, I was just like, why didn't you bring back some of that?
Right, I know. I've heard people went to, Arizona and Vegas and then
Yeah.
come back to this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Huge shock to the system, aren't we right? It's very cold here in the inland Northwest. Not just this morning. It's been like this pretty much since the weekend. Just be thankful we're not getting even more snow for it today. In fact, it actually looks mostly sunny out there as we're probably just a couple seconds to sunrise as it stands right now. And yeah, it doesn't look nearly as cloudy nor as foggy. You can see Mount Spokane in the background just behind the clock tower in the distance there. But I think the important number there is wind chill, 17 degrees. That's what it feels like as you're stepping outside, especially in the wind. If you're not sheltered by some of the surrounding trees in your neighborhood, you could definitely feel just how cold it is overall. But temperature-wise, the cold spots are in Moscow and St. Mary's, as well as Grangeville at 22 degrees. It's 27 currently in Spokane and Deer Park, but you factor in the wind on top of that, and it feels like it's about mid-teens or so. So it's definitely the wind that's just going to cut right through you. It feels a bit more like a January or a February morning as it stands right now. Snow over the western side of the state. There are a few radar returns in central Washington. Again, I don't think most of this is hitting the ground, but it might be flying in the air. So you're probably seeing it if you're driving along I-90 near Moses Lake, but it's probably not even windshield wiper worthy out there. Mostly sunny conditions, especially in the Spokane area this morning. But again, we can only get those temperatures into the mid 40s for today. And we're looking ahead at just how much longer we're going to see these cold April conditions in the area. My forecast in just a few minutes.
New overnight, Northern Lakes fire crews responding to a large fire in Hayden, Idaho. The fire started at the Ballard Golf Cars and Power Sports. About 30 firefighters responded to this one. As of right now, no injuries or deaths have been reported. And at this hour, crews have the fire under control, but fire officials believe the roof may have partially collapsed. We'll update you on this as we learn more.
Also new overnight, Spokane police arrested a suspect for stabbing a person on North Atlantic and West Wedgwood. Police say that the victim was taken to a hospital for treatment. However, they did not say how severe that injury is. Of course, this is a developing story, so we'll continue to update you with the latest information as soon as we get it.
Well, a new homeless shelter could be coming to the industrial area of East Spokane. Mayor Nadine Woodward announcing that the city is negotiating a lease with a 33,000 square foot building. KREM 2's Malia Kamal live at that building this morning. Malia, what do we know about this proposal so far?
Good morning, Tim. Now, what we know so far is that the city has spent months scouting out close to 100 different locations for a 24-hour homeless shelter. Now, the building right behind me is what Mayor Woodward believes would be the perfect fit. It checks off all the boxes. Now, this building was once home to Berg Industries, a company that creates tents for the U.S. military. Mayor Woodward acknowledges that there is never a perfect location and that people will always have concerns. However, she thinks that the location meets the needs that the city is trying to address. The building is on a bus route. It's also not near any residential neighborhoods, schools, or daycares. The city plans to offer services for mental health, addiction, and job training. Now, all Mayor Woodward needs is for the city council members to agree.
Another benefit of having this additional capacity is that it is going to give the city the ability to enforce some of the laws that are on the books now. And so when there is some of that illegal camping and stuff going on, the city will now have the ability to enforce some of that stuff and direct those folks to the new shelter site.
Now, many of the people camping off I-90 and Freya say they need their own space and don't want to sleep in a shelter with hundreds of other people. Now, Spokane City Council members will need to approve the plan and contract with a shelter operator. Now, this vote could happen as early as next week. In Spokane, Malia Kamal, KREM 2 News.
In the meantime, the camp next to I-90 and Freya is growing, and so is the number of reported crimes in that neighborhood. In 4 months, Spokane police recorded 854 incidents within a quarter mile of the East Central camp. Now, that's up 58% since last year. Neighbors say they have mixed feelings, though, about the camp. Some say they don't mind the residents as long as they keep to themselves. Others say they feel unsafe living in their home. Now, the camp does sit on state-owned land, which means that the city can't move people out. The East Central neighborhood is calling on the city, though, to figure out a solution.
A lot of people feel like if people are going to be brought here, the city needs to step up and make sure that they're matching that with services and also public safety.
According to Spokane police, a majority of these incidents reported have been a mix between calls for medics or police services. The area scope does include nearby businesses and gas stations, so it is possible that all of these incidents are not linked to the camp.
It's time now for your morning rush. More news in less time. Spokane police are investigating a deadly shooting in north central Spokane. We brought you this story as breaking news yesterday on Up with Creme. Police responded to reports of a car crash near Augusta and Wall. Police found a man lying in the street with a gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. If you have any information about this shooting, you're asked to call Crime Check. Ammon Bundy's trespassing charge has been dropped. Bundy was found guilty last month for charges related to an incident from last year when he refused to leave the Idaho State House. He was sentenced to 1-year probation and a more than $3,000 fine for his convictions. Nearly $500 million will go to help Native American tribes fight climate change. A federal infrastructure package is providing $466 million to the Bureau of Indian Affairs over the next 5 years. Now, the money will help tribes deal with rising sea levels, increasing temperatures, and potential drought conditions. Well, if you're looking for some weekend plans, all national parks are waiving their entrance fees this Saturday. It's all in honor of National Park Week, which begins this Saturday, April 16th. That's from Mount Rainier to the North Cascades to Steptoe Butte. Washington State's national parks cover nearly 2,600 square miles, which is nearly 4% of the state. And that's a look at your morning rush. Providence Health agreed to pay nearly $23 million to settle a lawsuit to over unnecessary medical procedures between 2013 and 2018.
So the settlement was to resolve allegations that 2 former Providence neurosurgeons performed unnecessary surgeries on patients in Walla Walla and then falsely built state and federal care programs for these procedures. Now, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Washington says this is the largest ever healthcare fraud settlement in Eastern Washington. They say by failing to make sure that doctors were performing safe and medically appropriate procedures, Providence put patients' lives and safety at serious risk. One woman, Danette Palmer, says that she got spinal fusion surgery to increase her mobility, but instead, she says she wound up worse off than before.
Went home with a feeding tube for 6 months. Still, after 19 months, I have difficulty swallowing many foods. Pain is still extreme.
So Providence released a statement saying that they take any allegation related to quality of care very seriously and that the quality and safety are their top priorities.
75% of our drug cases right now involve pills, Mexies.
Fentanyl cases are becoming more and more common across the inland Northwest. How the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office is now fighting the problem.
And the mayor of Spokane is working on a task force to address the recent spike in shootings in our area.
Here's the one thing you need to know about today's weather. It's on this morning and how cold it is outside. Our temperatures are in the 20s, but wind chills in the teens as you step outside at 6 o'clock on this Wednesday morning.
It is time now for your wake-up call. Easter 4 days away now, and this morning we want to know, what is your favorite candy? So we have a ranking of those sweets coming up in our next half hour. In the meantime, here's some of what you've already sent in. Dove dark chocolate eggs. So dang good. Someone else also weighing in on the Peeps debate. I don't like Peeps. I think they're gross. And someone agreeing with Channing that they like the Cadbury eggs,
Those are
but
delish.
no Peeps. So let us know. You can text us 509-448-2000.